Hello, now let us try to understand Chapter 5, Class 8. The topic is coal and petroleum. Coal and petroleum are very useful materials. Perhaps we have to know more about coal and petroleum. Let's see how and what we are going to learn today's class. Now, humans need and desires are very different. Our basic needs for living is very important, and we require many things. Actually, many things which are available in nature and many things which are man-made. We can call them as naturally available materials and man-made materials. If you look at the materials available in nature, we have sunlight, warmth, air. Air contains gases. Water is a big source. Rain is a source of water, but there is a natural water in the form of great oceans, and water is also locked up as ice in Himalayas and the Arctic zone also. They're all naturally available resources. We have soil, that is earth. Earth has got the topsoil, and earth has got the crust, and earth also inside the earth. If you go deep into the earth, we have plenty of natural resources. Your rocks, deposits inside. Deposits may vary in different forms and different chemical nature. And the forest is a big resource for us. So we have materials that are available to us in the materials which are made by man. Example, electricity, nuclear energy, automobiles, airplanes, beautification materials, different eatables, and list goes too long. That means though natural resources are limited in nature, they are very useful, and man-made materials are in plenty. The list is not very small, it's a very big one. You can also try to find out and list at least 100 man-made materials so that you will understand how human beings are completely creative and make laboratory created materials. Now let's go to the next slide. And here we have man-made materials. I have listed again for you all the technological products what we have. You can list plenty of them. Automobiles of all kinds, scooters, motorcycles, cars, double-deckers, whatnot, and plastics of various kinds and shapes, metals and alloys of metals, different eatables. You see different types of eatables made by man, medical equipment, bioengineered life. We have recently heard that some viruses are made in the laboratories, and new breeds of animals and plants are all made by man. Now, when you think the natural materials, again we have made a list here. The most important thing is the solar energy. That is, this is the representation of the earth, Mother Earth, and solar energy is a source that is everlasting. We don't know when the solar energy started, and we don't know when it will end. That is the energy from the sun. We have the soil, the topmost layer of the earth is the soil that contains very important fertilizing materials, and below the topsoil you have the crust, and deep inside there may be lava, that is, due to the high pressure there may be lava, they may come out in the form of volcanoes. That means the earth has a resource which is not fully known to us. And we have, of course, we have coal, which is already we'll be discussing. We have oil present inside the earth, birds, plants, flowers, minerals, natural gas, atmosphere. All these are the naturally available materials. Naturally available materials and man-made materials. Two types of materials. One is called inexhaustible. That means the more you use, the more we get. Example, sunlight. You can use sunlight for any purpose. Today we have solar light, solar heaters, and many different types of solar equipment is being made. Still, the solar energy is available to us. Air. Any number of human beings, any number of living beings present in the world can respire oxygen that is present in the air. So air is also another important inexhaustible source. Water contained in the sea is inexhaustible. Now, exhaustible ones are those that are present in the nature, but they can be, if we use them without any stopping for a long time, we may lose them. Example, forest is one source. If we keep on cutting the forest and the trees, we may not get the forest at all. Wildlife is connected with the forest. If you remove the forest, then wildlife will also go away. Minerals which are present in the earth, when you dig up, use them, we may not get them back. Rocks. Today man is using rocks for various purposes. Hundreds and thousands of roads are made and buildings are made out of rocks. Big mountains are broken and rocks are crushed to make. We do not know what effect that will have on the ecosystem. At the same time, rocks cannot be produced in the laboratories. Now, coal, petroleum, and natural gas are all naturally available resources, but these are also exhaustible ones. That means the more we use to us, therefore we should use very judiciously. The exhaustible natural resources, we will discuss it further. Coal, petroleum products, natural gas. These three are most important natural resources that are exhaustible. That means when we start using them, they will become less and less available to us. Now, these three, coal, petroleum products, and natural gas, are formed by dead remains of organisms once living. They lived long ago, maybe millions and millions of years ago, and they have become now what we call the fossil fuels. They are called fuels because we use. Now, let's the coal. Since most of you live in the cities, you might not see the coal, but in the olden days, about 50 years ago perhaps, or 60 years ago, coal was used for various purposes. Locomotive, railway engines were using coal for powering their machines. Let's see how the coal is formed and where the coal is taken away. Coal is said to be formed by dead wood. Scientists say large forests, thousands and thousands acres of forests once were very, very good, and due to many natural disasters, all the forests and the trees were completely dead and they were buried inside the layers of the earth, layers and layers of earth, maybe miles and miles below the present day's earth's crust, and that dead wood has formed itself into coal. What we see here, the black material is called the coal. Sometimes it's called black gold because uh, gold is used economically for various purposes. Similarly, coal was used for a number of activities which were of very, very important economic value. It was called black gold. Let's say the coal is available under the rocks, especially mountains may contain the coal that is open source, and sometimes you can dig deep into the earth and called mines, and they are mined from the caves. So both types of coal is possible, and now this advances. Now let's again see what is going to happen. Now, formation of coal is often called carbonization. Please remember, carbonization is a process that is formed by means of uh, a process where the deep buried forests, that is dead and decaying wood, were completely buried under high pressure of the soil layers. Miles and miles of soil layers fell upon the dead wood, and that created a large amount of pressure and temperature, and due to high pressure and high temperature over hundreds and thousands of years, slowly the dead wood now got converted into carbon, and that carbon is often called coal. So this process, where in the examination they may ask you what is carbonization. Now coal, when it is used in the industry, and if you process the coal in the industry using different temperatures, it's called coal processing, we get three important materials. One byproduct is called the coke, second is called the coal tar, and third is called the coal gas. These three have high economic value. Coke is the pure carbon. That means it does not contain any impurity, and this coke is used in the metallurgy. Purification of metals are used by the carbon. Now even carbon particles are used in purification of water. Today whatever you find in your home, water purification may contain pure carbon. Now coal tar is a thick black liquid, and that contains maybe more than 200 more substances in the coal tar. All those substances can be taken out by means of fractional distillation, and that will produce large number of materials. Uh, and coal gas is the one used in the earlier days, especially in the Britain, that was used for lighting the streets. But today, electricity has taken place of the coal gas. But coal gas is today used for the coal is used for very, very, very different purposes. Now, we can also call it as a petroleum products. If you look at this list, what I have given here to you, this is the crude oil or the petroleum. Petroleum is a liquid that is formed by dead organisms, lived under the sea. Remember, that the dead wood is above the soil, that is on the soil, and the petroleum is below the soil. It is beneath the soil crust under the sea. One is above the sea, one is below the sea. Petroleum is below the sea. Petroleum is formed by the dead organisms. Just like the dead wood became the coal, dead organisms became petroleum. Petroleum, because these organisms lived millions and millions of years ago, and they were all buried under the sea, and due to high pressure all the organisms converted them into petroleum. You have to go to the seas and drive the bore well for nearly 3000 to 4000 feet. Then you get the oil. It's called crude oil, and this crude oil, when it is distilled, we will get synthetic materials from that. You see, they are all the byproducts of the crude oil, that is petroleum products. We shall see how it is done. Now, what you saw here was a product. Now, here is a small drawing made by a very small student to show how petroleum we get it. You see this, what he has shown here, the black material is nothing but the sea basin, and this is that is when you drill the sea or the water bed of some of the rivers, especially in India now, they found in Godavari and other places a lot of petroleum reserves. When you drill the earth below the ground and go deep into the level 3000 feet to 5000 feet, you get layers and layers of rock to begin with, and then you get some water. Then finally you may get a reserve, and that reserve may contain a mixture of crude oil and water, and that is taken out, and that becomes the petroleum. So up to 5000 feet, if you dig the well, you will get the petroleum, naturally available crude oil, and that petroleum products. Now, we say use petroleum products carefully. Caution is that petroleum is locked inside the Earth's crust. No one knows how much oil is locked inside, but we understand that petroleum is exhaustible. That means the more we take out the petroleum, the less and less it is available for the future generation. We cannot renew the stock of the rock oil. Petroleum is also called rock oil because it is taken out beneath the rock, so it's called rock oil. We cannot make this in the laboratory also. High pressure, and we must try to know how to preserve the petroleum products. We must use it wisely, and we should not waste the petroleum products. That can help us to preserve the petroleum. Now, when we these are sometimes called petrochemicals or petrochemicals. Now, petrochemicals are those substances we get from petroleum. That thick oil, crude oil, we get from the under the crust. Now, one of them is the petrol, second is the diesel, and third is the lubricating oils, and fourth is the gas or the natural gas. You know, petrol is used for various purposes. Aviation, that is the aeroplane industry, automobile industry, everywhere petrol is used. And diesel again has a industrial use, used in automobiles and ships and many heavy vehicles. Lubricating oils are those oils required for the mechanization of the industries, where this is also very important product of the petroleum. Gas is the natural gas, Natural gas is, there are two types of thing. One what we call is the LPG, liquid petroleum gas, and CNG, that is the compressed natural gas, which will be used in our homes for cooking purposes. Now, here some of the petrochemicals are used in polyester, nylon, acrylic, plastics, detergent, fertilizers are all made as a part of the petrochemical products. Now, natural gas is the one that is of two types that we get from the petroleum. One is called the LPG or liquid petroleum gas. CNG is the compressed natural gas. LPG is stored in the heavy cylinders for various purposes, but for household purposes these days they prepare what's called CNG, compressed natural gas, used for domestic purposes. These LPG or CNG used to generate power, they use for domestic purposes, used in automobiles today in place of liquid petrol. So we show the next one and see. Now the one important message you have to carry with you is preserve petroleum and coal. They are the natural resources. They can be completely made not available by excess use. They are exhaustible. They may be spent. Therefore, we must use them carefully. They are not renewable. We cannot renew them, nor we can make them in the laboratory. They may vanish from the earth if we don't use them properly. That's the caution you must carry with you. That's why. Now we come to the last part. Read your textbook. Try to answer all the questions given in the textbook. And some images are taken from the Creative Commons. I am grateful to the authors. And I thank you. You should know how to use your textbook